Once upon a time, there was a saint who lived a life of travel, journeying from village to village, from town to town, spreading wisdom and teaching moral principles. He had no home, no hut, no ashram, nor any fixed place to rest. His life was simple. Just a robe and a staff were enough for him. However, there were times when the saint felt weary of his constant wandering. He thought to himself, if only I had a fixed place, a small hut, or an ashram, I wouldn't have to travel so much. I could spend more time teaching and helping others. This thought gradually grew within him, making him long for a place to call his own. One day, he heard about a king who was famous throughout the land for his generosity. People said that this king never refused anyone's request. Whatever someone asked for, he would give without hesitation. Stories of his kindness had spread far and wide. Hearing this, the saint was filled with hope. He decided to visit the king, believing that he might be granted a small piece of land to build a place where he could live and share his teachings. When he arrived at the palace, he saw a long line of people waiting. Each of them had come to ask for something, be it food, gold, or land. As the rumors had said, the king was willing to grant anything people wished for. At last, it was the saint's turn. The king welcomed him with respect and asked, "Holy saint, how may I assist you?" The saint bowed his head humbly and said, "Your Majesty, I ask for nothing more than a small piece of land where I can build a hut to live and spread my teachings." The king smiled upon hearing this and asked, "Holy saint, how much land do you need?" The saint hesitated. He began calculating in his mind. 1 acre should be enough, but the king is very generous. Perhaps I should ask for 2 acres, or maybe 5. No, if I'm going to build an ashram, why not ask for 10 acres? Yes, 10 would be perfect. Lost in thought, he did not answer immediately. The king noticed his hesitation and said, "Let me make it easier for you. Walk in any direction you choose from here. All the land you cover will be yours, as long as you return before sunset. However, if you fail to come back in time, you'll lose everything." The saint was overjoyed, deeply moved by the king's generosity. He thought, this is a rare opportunity. The farther I go, the more land I will have. I must take full advantage of this. Without hesitation, he immediately began his journey. At first, he walked at a steady pace, conserving his energy to go as far as possible. But before long, greed began to creep in. He thought, if I walk faster, I can claim even more land. So he quickened his pace, walking briskly at first, then jogging and soon running. Every time he saw a fertile field, he wanted to include it in his territory. When he spotted a lush forest, he ran around it to make it his own. Upon discovering a crystal-clear lake, he thought, this lake would be perfect as part of my ashram. And so he kept running without stopping to rest. Time passed, and the sun rose higher. The scorching heat made the air stifling, but the saint did not slow down. His only goal was to claim as much land as possible, completely forgetting the most important condition. He had to return before sunset. As the sun climbed higher, its intense rays made the air even hotter. The saint started to feel exhausted, yet he refused to stop. One thought consumed his mind. Just a little farther, and I'll have even more land. Later, I can use it to build a magnificent ashram. Worried about the saint's recklessness, the king ordered 2 horsemen to follow him with water, ready to assist if needed. They called out, "Holy saint, stop for a moment. Drink some water and rest." But the saint refused. "There's no time. If I stop, I will lose the land that I could have claimed." He kept running, even as his body began to weaken. His legs grew heavy. His breath came in short gasps. Yet his greed urged him forward, refusing to let him stop. Then the sun began to descend in the western sky. Realizing that time was running out, the saint panicked. He looked at the distance between himself and the palace. It was still too far. If he didn't return in time, he would lose everything. With the last remnants of his strength, he turned around and dashed toward the palace. His legs burned with exhaustion, but he pushed on. Every step felt heavier. Sweat poured down his face, and his heart pounded violently in his chest. The sun sank lower, and darkness slowly crept in. The saint was now just a short distance from the palace, But his body had reached its limit. In his final moments, using every ounce of energy left, he lunged forward and collapsed at the king's feet. But it was too late. His body could no longer endure the extreme exhaustion. His breath grew weaker, then stopped completely. The king looked down at him and shook his head in regret. All this land was not worth the price of life. The saint's death was not just a personal tragedy, but also a profound lesson for all of us. This story reflects the reality of many people's lives. We endlessly chase after fame, wealth, and power, believing that just a little more will bring happiness. But in the end, just like the saint, we may exhaust ourselves before we ever get the chance to enjoy what we have accumulated. Humans are often trapped in the endless cycle of ambition. We set a goal, achieve it, and then immediately desire more. A high-paying job is never enough. We want an even higher salary. A spacious house is not enough. We want a mansion. A nice car is not enough. We want a more luxurious one. And so, the race never ends. Yet, we rarely pause to ask ourselves, how much do I truly need to be happy? The saint in the story had the opportunity to stop at any time, but he didn't. He kept thinking that just a little more would be enough, but in the end, he never felt satisfied. We are the same. Many people spend their entire lives accumulating wealth, only to look back and realize that they have sacrificed too much, their health, their time, and sometimes even precious moments with their family and loved ones. Happiness does not come from possessing more, but from knowing when to say enough. Only when we learn to stop at the right time can we truly enjoy life to the fullest. This story reminds us that life is not a race to accumulate as much as possible, but a journey to live, love, and appreciate what we already have.